One of the most versatile, talented riff machines and songwriters in rock and roll today, Rich Ward is one of the linchpins behind Fozzy. With another big tour set to begin in Brighton on the 6th of February, the band's long-standing love affair with the UK continues. So I'm delighted to welcome Rich Ward to Metal Talk. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon to you. That was heck of an introduction. Thank you so much, Steve.
Cool, cool, cool. I mean, the reception Fozzy always gets when you guys are over here is very impressive. Yeah, is love affair a good description of your relationship with the UK?
I would say so. I mean, we we started off playing shows in America, and they always went well. And then the first time we came over to the UK, it was like we had visited a different planet, and we had all different fans on a different planet, and the love was on a different level. And so, because of that, we actually play more shows every year in the UK than we
Wow.
do in the States often. And, obviously it's cheaper and easier to play in the States because it doesn't require flights and all of the extra expenses. But in this era of our lives, when we know that we've probably played more gigs than we will in the future, at this age in our careers, that you want everyone to count and you want every gig to be special, and you savor those moments.
Yep.
And so for us, it's been special. And we've been able to hook up with some really incredible support groups as well. We've got Tail Gunner and Marissa and the Moths on this. So we've been really fortunate that we've had the opportunity to do some, build incredible relationships. Like we toured with the Hot Damn, and they're an incredible
Mm,
all girl rock band, and we've just been real blessed. And we've built some. I mean, I got married to my wife in England. Like
really?
that's how much I'm have a love affair with England. And every time I'm there, I try to go to at least a couple of football matches, excuse
Right.
me.
Yeah.
And it's the culture is important to me. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I mean, we love covering the shows at Metal Talk. No matter the writer, they always say that each show is just bloody good fun.
Amen, sir. Yes, you get
Yeah,
that
yeah,
right.
yeah, cool. Fall in Line was the last single released. With it being nearly 3 years since Boombox, does this mean that there's early stages for the next album?
I think we're going to stick with just releasing singles for a while.
Hmm.
And I think part of the reason for that is um, Chris, on the last album, Boombox, we spent so much time on it,
Hmm.
and every song was very important to us. And then two or three songs get released as singles, and then the rest of them kind of go in the bin, so to speak.
Right.
And Chris Jericho, the singer in Fozzy, just so for context, he was really hurt by it because he realizes that now, because we're not in the age of albums anymore, where
Hmm.
people go and buy physical albums, we're in the days of playlists and singles and streaming, and felt like we should spend our time really focused on a song at a time and release them like that. And it's helped us in a lot of ways, because the pressure of making a 12 or 14 song album,
Hmm.
especially when Chris has two or three other careers
Hmm.
that take up a lot of time. So it allows us to not water down the process by focusing on this, and this, and this, and making an album, to do it properly. If you were all in a room together as a band, about a month to write and
Yep.
a month to record. And Fozzy can't do that just because of, like I said, just the way that we are as a band, the way that it came up. We started as kind of a covers project.
Hmm.
Our first two albums were covers albums because Jericho was wrestling full time with the WWF. I was in a band called Stuck Mojo, and Fozzy was our love affair band. It was our side project that we
Hmm.
put all of our passion into. And then when it became our priority, and you know that it's Chris's priority because his handle says Chris Jericho Fozzy on social media,
Yep.
not Chris Jericho wrestler. He is a passionate lover of music and a performer and songwriter.
Mm.
So The goal moving forward is just to put everything we have into every song. There's a brand new song that we're working on right now. Chris just recorded the vocals last week.
Cool.
It'll probably be released, I would say, March, something like that. We were hoping to get it out for this most recent UK tour that I'll be
Yep.
seeing you guys in a few weeks. But like I said, it's up to the universe.
Right.
We work with a producer named Johnny Andrews.
Hmm.
He produces a million big bands himself, so it's all down to scheduling. Like all of a sudden, everyone has all these other things going on, and well, when are you available? Well, how about Tuesday, 3 weeks from now? Tuesday, 3 weeks from now? What
Yeah.
about now? But that's kind of as we get older, and Chris has three kids.
Mhm.
Our producer has a kid, and like I said, it's life is complicated. I never had kids. I never did. I don't have hobbies. I don't have a life outside of this. This has playing guitar and writing songs and performing and touring. That has been my life since I was 18 years old. There's never been a disruption or an exit off the freeway. It's just been a focus on that. There was never a moment where I doubted that this is what I was going to do. So I can be the pillar, the middle post in the tent of Fozzy, so to speak, so that because life is complicated for so many other people we work with, I just say, I'm always available. You let me know. I will be there. Tell me the time. And it works good for everybody because I've learned a long time ago if you have to work around everybody's schedule, you'll
Yep.
never do anything. It
Yep.
can't be
Yep.
that way. I have a band that when Fozzy's not touring called Guardians of the Jukebox, and it's an 80s cover band.
Hmm.
And we're the biggest 80s cover band, bar maybe one or two others in the whole US. And the part of the reason is I won't work with anybody who has a job.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
This has to be it.
Yep.
Like it's every day is all chips in. You want to do this for a living
Yep.
because everybody wants to be successful. Everybody. So 95% of the success is just in your commitment and the work, being available. There's no days off. I
Yep.
don't care if you have a family reunion. I'm sorry. This is the choice we made. It just is. And I've missed a lot of life. I've been gone for my wife's birthday and anniversaries and Thanksgiving and Easter's and all of these things that are important in culture. When you grow up, the culture says
Yep.
Easter Sunday, you have your dinner with your family and grandma comes over. There was none of that. I've never had that normalcy and I miss
Uh,
it. And
yep.
and I know I should have had kids. I
Hmm.
know I should have. It's all my friends that have kids, like I long for teaching them to play a sport or going fishing or going to Disney World, like the things that you just miss all of those things. But I made my decision a long time ago. And part of that was is my dad was a golf pro
Right.
growing up.
Hmm.
His priority
Was
was
golf.
golf.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I never saw my dad a lot because of that. And I realized that if I was going to be what he was going to do, which is prioritize myself in something that even when it's perfect, it's
Hmm.
the hardest thing in the world to do.
Yep.
Like being a musician. Now, I have lots of friends of mine that are musicians and they're fantastic musicians. And the music they write and their performances are incredible. They just don't do it for a living.
Right.
They have a job and they do it because it's a passion of theirs. Like my manager a long time ago, he told me, he's like, I always tell young people when they say, hey, like they'll come to our Fozzy manager who also managed Stuck Mojo and say, hey, would you manage my band? And he said, well, are you prepared to take all of your earthly belongings and put them in the front yard and set it on fire? Because that's the gamble.
Yep.
That is the gamble because there are no paychecks, there's no pension funds, there's no insurance, there's nothing. It's just you, a guitar or drums, an old broken down van full of gear, and the next show. And that's the bargain. That's the life that we choose. And I've never regretted one moment of it.
Yeah. I mean, I love that drive and energy. I mean, I love Fall in Line as well. So sometimes when I'm traveling to a gig, yeah, I'll have the earphones in, and I'll be listening to the middle of a track, yeah, and the middle of that track in particular, yeah, when I was going up the escalator, yeah, there's that kind of slower paced, really heavy middle riff, yeah, and then there's an involuntary need to put your arms out and spring your head back, and you get people looking at you like you're some kind of weirdo, yeah. But a lot of the music that you write really sucks in people like that.
Yeah, well, thank you. And I think that's been the real key for us is now that we're in this mode where we're working on a song at a time, we realize that it's important to be as perfect as we can make it
Hmm.
because it's like a small bite dinner if you're
Yeah.
creating as a chef.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
we know you have one chance to make a perfect meal for this customer. Um, and our fans are loyal, and because we've been around a long time, we've built this incredible bond with our fan base,
Hmm.
and they deserve the best of,
Yep.
especially when we're only, like I said, releasing one song a year.
Yep.
And there may come a point where we're releasing two or three songs a year.
Hmm.
It really just kind of comes down to how is the material. We've got three or four songs that we've already gotten rough skeleton demos
Cool.
in the works.
Hmm.
So I think Fall in Line is about as good a song as we've ever written, and it energized us that this late in our career that we're still capable of
Yep.
writing interesting songs.
Hmm.
Um, and yet songs that aren't self-indulgent,
Hmm.
because I don't want to get into that phase where you're writing for yourself
Hmm.
and they get so it pointed inward that they're not going to reach out and speak to anyone else.
Hmm.
I do think that there are artists that get into those phases of their life where their songs meander and they're not focused. And I think working with a great producer helps,
Yep.
especially. I'm 57. When I was writing albums and Stuck Mojo when I was in my early 20s, it was a much different process. It was much more guttural. It was much more reactionary. It was based on emotions that I was having.
Yep.
And now writing songs is more of an intellectual process.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we listen to other albums. I'll
Mm.
listen to a Queen album. I'll listen to a Pink Floyd album, an AC/DC record, and we'll write about things that we really loved about those albums. What was it that inspired us when we were kids from those? So we're going through a lot of this kind of exploration of what it was that made us such big music fans ourselves when we were younger.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. One thing that really always impresses me about your songwriting, yeah, especially with some of the more recent songs, yeah, is the use of melody, yeah. So with the heaviness, with the level of heaviness that you had with Fozzy, yeah, that kind of I don't want to use the word accessible, but that kind of use of melody is very inviting to people who maybe don't well, that kind of heaviness isn't their standard way of listening. Yeah? Is that way you see it? Are you happy with that description?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I listen to lots of pop music. Now, I don't listen to lots of modern pop music because it's not really made for me. But I love 70s and 80s, 90s
Hmm.
pop music. There's just stuff about, um, 70s kind of soft rock,
Hmm.
that era of Toto,
Yeah.
Asia and Yes. And I grew up on that stuff. And then
Hmm.
80s pop music, I love Duran Duran.
Hmm.
Like and because they were interesting songs as well. They
Hmm.
were made by real musicians
Hmm.
and really thoughtful.
Yep.
And I'm still influenced by that because they were still interesting songs and they were brilliant statements, but they were also spoken in a language that spoke to everyone.
Yeah.
I love prog music, but prog music speaks to prog music
Yep.
fans,
Yep.
and extreme music, metal music speaks to extreme metal music fans. And I've always been, because the metal I grew up with was Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Scorpions,
Mhm.
Ozzy. Those are my big bands when I first discovered heavy music. Those songs are very accessible.
Mm.
When you listen to Diary of a Madman, those are like pop music songs
Mhm.
with like great riffs.
Yep.
When you really think about it, I mean,
Mm.
they're just brilliantly written songs, and that was from my earliest age. Those are
Mm.
my influences. So I don't know that the exercise is we have to write a song for the radio or we have to write a song. It's just that's kind of part of our DNA.
Yep.
Those were Chris's favorite artist or Freddie Mercury and
Mm.
David Bowie, like, and those guys were the greatest pop
Mm.
artists. They
Yeah.
happened to be in cool rock bands,
Yeah.
but but at
Yeah.
the same time, they wrote very hooky melodies, and
Yeah.
so we're lucky that that's just kind of baked into the cake for us.
Yeah, I mean, even the bass, the bass in Duran Duran. I mean, Duran Duran's not a band we cover at Metal Talk, but the bass in Duran Duran was always pretty cool, wasn't it? Um, can we talk about Judas for a minute? Yeah, I mean, with over 73 million plays on YouTube, for a song that you wrote, yeah, that's got to be a very proud moment for you.
It really is. I mean, that was the song that took me from worrying about how to pay my bills every month
Hmm.
into like finally realizing what it was like to be a professional musician. And I mean that like in what we consider our traditional terms. We
Yep.
have like a hit song.
Hmm.
I've got a gold plaque on my wall. It's very
Wow.
unusual because we didn't write it thinking that it
Yep.
would be a big hit. Because you love all your songs, right? Like
Yep.
there's never a time where I went, God, I can't believe we put that one out. Like we really care. I know most artists say this, but you always think your newest album or your newest song is your best. Like it's just the natural thing because you've put your heart and your soul and your
Mm.
time and
Yep.
everything into these songs. So when we wrote Judas, we all knew it was great, but I don't think we at the time knew it was going to be received so well.
Mm.
And we were very lucky as well because our singer Chris Jericho, people know, or most people may know, is a famous professional wrestler, and he used the song as his entrance
Yep.
ring song. So every day he came out, that was the song played when he's on television every Monday night.
Mm.
And so it became well known by people even outside the rock and metal community,
Mm.
just people who watched wrestling.
Yep.
And this was like so key for us because I think that's true for a lot of other artists, rock and metal artists. Like Cannibal Corpse had a gold album
Hmm.
because their song was used on the Ace Ventura Pet Detective
Yep. Yep. Yep.
soundtrack, and it was in the movie. Like sometimes you just need an opportunity to have
Yep.
exposure outside of the normal avenue to your fan base. And I remember when Stuck Mojo supported Typo Negative in America and the UK in '96. And I remember that year that I Know What You Did Last Summer, that horror movie came
Hmm.
out, and the
Yep.
and the opening title sequence was Summer Breeze, their cover. And I remember thinking, how cool was this?
Yep.
That this kind of really heavy underground band was getting mainstream
Hmm.
exposure on a Hollywood film. And now a whole new audience of people were going to recognize their music. And I think that's what all of us are hoping for
Yeah.
is that you're not intentionally trying to sell out, but ultimately all of us are hoping that other people will hear it. I mean,
Yep.
I know, when I was a Metallica fan, I wasn't one of the fans who was mad at Metallica when all of a sudden they became popular. I
Hmm.
still loved Metallica because when I first heard Ride the Lightning,
Yep.
and then Master of Puppets came out, it changed my life like it did for most people.
Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
brilliant records, and I went for the ride.
Yeah.
I'll always be a music fan, and I don't abandon. When Machine Head tried doing new metal in '90s, I didn't abandon them. I didn't say. I always think it's great when bands explore and
Hmm.
and try new things. I mean, Korn did it, Marilyn Manson's done it. Everybody's tried things. Queen did it every album.
Yep.
Like trying to push the limits of who you are as an artist is always a good thing. And if people discover you along the way from different ways and different avenues, then good on you.
Yeah, cool, 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 cool. Very briefly then. So, I mean, you mentioned Stuck Mojo, so the rap metal area. Yeah, we're talking about Anthrax and I'm the Man. Was that kind of your inspiration around that?
Absolutely was. Yes. That was like I'm the man and then feel the noise or bring the noise, excuse me. And there was a few other bands that were kind of underground at the time. There was a band called Psycho Funkopus, and
Hmm.
there was Orange 9 Millimeter. There was a few of these bands that I had heard, but it really was like I was a massive Anthrax fan. I mean, I
Wow.
I,
Yep.
I still to this day listen to Among the Living and think it's
Yep.
one of the
Yep.
best thrash albums of all time.
Yeah.
And
It was a
yeah,
cool
so that was a huge influence for
yeah,
us.
it was a cool time, wasn't it? Yeah, even, I remember prancing around in Bermuda shorts, thinking I looked like the dog's bollocks. But we got the tour coming up. Yeah, the set
You
list.
probably did. You probably did. You probably looked at it all. Yeah.
We got the tour coming up. The set list is prepared and all ready. You excited?
Yes, I am. Longest set list we've ever played.
Fantastic.
Every year we add an additional song to try to, people come to money and we want to give them their monies. And so it's a long set list that the entire discography,
Wow.
and it's going to be a great show. Really
Oh,
excited.
amazing. We can't wait. I mean, it's going to be an epic tour. It's going to be an epic show. We wish you all the best and we can't wait to see you. Any message for the fans?
Just the UK fans are the best in the world, and even to my American brothers and sisters who may hear this, I apologize to you. It's your burden to hold up the hold up your end of the bargain, and I just something magic about the UK. I don't know what it is, but we have just had the best times, and it's the chanting, the energy, the vibes. If you've not seen Fozzy in the UK, if you live in Germany, get on Ryanair and fly over and see it. It's magical, it's special, and I'm super excited about this tour.
Fantastic. What are you looking forward to about Britain? Fish and chips or the English beer with no bubbles?
I'm most excited about Sunday roast and having a bunch of good curries.
Excellent. Fantastic. Rich, I feel like we could do this all day. Really looking forward to the tour. Can't wait to see you. Thank you so much for your time. It's going to be awesome.
Steve, it's been a privilege. Thank you so much, and thanks to all your listeners. I really appreciate it. It's been a privilege.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you,
you, brother.
Rich. Cheers.
Thanks, brother. Cheers.